Thanks for clicking. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this one.
At most universities, tenured professors walk on water. But in the Department of Classical Studies, one walked like she owned the ocean. Dr. Meredith Quell. She was a traditionalist, a stickler for hierarchy, and a control freak disguised as a keeper of academic standards. She hated tech, loved rules, and wore the same maroon shawl to every staff photo. If you asked students, they called her the binder queen. Why? Because every departmental process had to go through the binder. A 3-inch thick, laminated monstrosity updated, allegedly, in 2011, the binder outlined how to handle everything. Scheduling, reimbursements, equipment booking, filing lecture materials, even how to answer phones. No one used it. Except her. Enter me. Ben Harlow. 4th-year history major, part-time departmental admin assistant, and the only student worker dumb enough to accept a position in her orbit. I'd taken the job for the resume credit and the campus connections. I was already eyeing grad school and figured working in a professor's office would look great on paper. My job was simple. Answer phones. File departmental paperwork. Help with logistics for events, especially the upcoming Eastern Academic Consortium Conference, which Dr. Quell was obsessed with. But she had rules. Use the binder. It exists for a reason. Emailing me questions is inefficient. If it's not in the binder, bring it up in our Friday status meetings. Don't improvise. At first, I tried to modernize things quietly. I suggested an online calendar for department meetings. No, she said. We post schedules on the corkboard. I offered to digitize the AV request form. The form is fine, she said. It's been used since 2005. I even built a shared Google Drive folder for lecture notes. She deleted it. The final straw was the conference. She'd been selected as the keynote speaker. Her talk was titled, The Rhetoric of Decline, a comparative study of late empire texts. She described it as career-defining. It was the first year the conference was going fully remote, hosted through a live-streamed academic portal with integrated chat, moderated Q&A, and cloud-based slide submissions. I read the guide. It was slick, easy, modern. But Dr. Quell refused to adapt. I've submitted my talk the same way for 20 years. You will follow the process outlined in the binder. But the binder doesn't cover remote AV. Then extrapolate. But don't go off script. Shouldn't we test your mic or upload your slides? Ben. Is the binder. She said it slowly, like I was a toddler being scolded for coloring outside the lines. That day I made a decision. She wanted binder logic. She was going to get it. I spent 2 weeks preparing her presentation materials exactly to the specifications in the binder. CD-ROM copy? Burned. Slides? Printed and hole punched. Laser pointer batteries? Replaced even though she wouldn't be standing. Handout packets? Sealed in manila envelopes. AV adapter? VGA? For a MacBook Air that didn't have a single port. She also asked me to prep backups. The binder listed cassette recorder and acetate transparency as acceptable forms of archival. I printed a copy of her slides on overhead transparency sheets just for the principle of it. Then I filed everything into a rolling case with a typed note taped on top. Prepared per departmental process documentation. Benjamin Harlow. She didn't question any of it. She actually praised me. You're finally learning to respect protocol, she said. I smiled. Wouldn't dream of doing it any other way. The Eastern Academic Consortium Conference took place on a crisp Friday morning. Over 700 virtual attendees from dozens of universities were registered. It was a big deal, not just for Dr. Quell but for the entire department. This keynote would be seen by deans, colleagues, and a dozen people who still cared about dead empires. Dr. Quell arrived on campus at 7:15 a.m. sharp, wearing her usual statement shawl and toting her rolling case of presentation materials, the very same one I'd packed per the binder. Ben, she said, smugly confident, have the technicians reviewed my files? Of course, I replied. I didn't say which files. She marched into the office we'd converted into her presentation suite, a glorified storage room we outfitted with a webcam and desk lamp. I showed her the chair, the laptop, the Ethernet cable. She sneered at it all. I'll be using my laptop, she said, pulling out her MacBook Air like it was Excalibur. Plug me into the projector. There's no projector, I reminded her. This is a live stream platform. I need to use my slides. They're burned to CD-ROM per your request. She blinked. I thought you uploaded them. You told me not to. Binder only. But I assumed. Dr. Quell, I said, calm and pleasant, you explicitly instructed me not to deviate. I even labeled everything per section 4.3.2 of the binder. Do not modify AV materials without prior written approval from the department chair. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. The livestream tech team joined the call at 8:40. Dr. Quell's keynote was scheduled for 9 a.m. Dr. Quell, said the host, a cheerful grad student from another university, do you have your slides uploaded? No, she said. Pause. Do you have a link? No. I burned them to a compact disc. Another pause. We don't have a disc reader. She tried to plug in her MacBook with the VGA cable. Of course it didn't work. She pulled out her printed handouts and asked if she could show them to the camera. Someone on the tech team whispered, "Is this a bit?" At 9:02 a.m. the keynote began. Dr. Quell sat too close to the camera, her face filling most of the screen. Her voice echoed. The lighting was bad. Her hands shook as she held up slide printouts like she was auditioning for a documentary on ancient PowerPoint. The live chat exploded. Wait, are we being punked? Is this from a VHS? Bless her heart. This is the kind of academic gatekeeping we're supposed to evolve past. Meanwhile, I sat just outside the room watching the stream with headphones on and sipping my coffee. I'd followed every instruction. Not my fault the binder didn't cover Zoom. When the session ended, she stormed out. You set me up, she hissed. I tilted my head. I followed the process exactly. Ask anyone in the department. I should have overridden you. You should have read the live stream guide I emailed. She stared at me like she wanted to flip the desk. Instead, she left in silence. The fallout was glorious. Within hours, the department chair, Dr. Kerr, called me in. She said you sabotaged her, he said. I handed him a neatly organized folder of emails, AV checklists, and a sticky note from her that read, absolutely no cloud uploading. Binder process only. NQ. He flipped through the pages. She really didn't want you to use the modern system? She specifically told me not to, I said. I even confirmed it twice. He shook his head. This is a mess. I stayed quiet. He wasn't done. Faculty from 3 universities contacted me asking if we're still using projectors and paper notes. This made us look prehistoric. I agree, I said. That's why I tried updating our documentation a few months ago. He blinked. You offered that? I nodded. I even made a shared drive and workflow sheet. She deleted it. He didn't say it, but I could see it in his eyes. We backed the wrong horse. Over the next 2 weeks, things shifted. I was asked to help the admin office digitize archival forms. Then the dean asked me to present my workflow model for hybrid conferences. Then Dr. Kerr quietly mentioned the university would be reviewing roles and responsibilities within classical studies. That was code. Dr. Quell wasn't fired. You don't fire tenured professors unless they commit crimes or burn down the library. But she was moved into independent research. No classes. No admin roles. No more event oversight. Just her and her binder. Alone. 2 months after the binder incident, the Department of Classical Studies looked completely different. Gone were the dusty mailboxes and fax folders. The corkboard was still there, more for nostalgia, but it was used to pin memes and event flyers, not meeting agendas. In its place, a sleek digital dashboard, shared calendars, PDF forms, a Slack channel for staff, Zoom links for meetings, auto reminders for event timelines, and it all ran through a shared folder labeled Classical OPS 2.0, designed by Ben Harlow. Dr. Quell's office was quiet. Lights usually off. She was listed in the directory as Faculty Research Liaison, which nobody really knew the meaning of. Occasionally, I saw her around campus, clutching a binder and walking stiffly between the library and the faculty lounge. But her influence? Gone. Meanwhile, my inbox exploded. I was approached by the Dean of Student Affairs, asking me to consult on orientation logistics, a tech fellow from the engineering department who offered me a paid project, and a rep from the graduate office, encouraging me to apply early decision, tuition waived, based on innovative administrative contribution. Not bad for someone who, 3 months earlier, was being asked to unjam a fax machine. At the end of the semester, Dr. Kerr invited me to lunch. He was casual, kind, a little tired, but genuine. I've worked here for 22 years, he said. I've seen a lot of staff come and go. But you did something we hadn't managed in a decade. Updated a spreadsheet? He laughed. Rebuilt a system without burning it down. That takes strategy. We talked about grad school. I told him I was leaning toward historical data systems, archival management, digital transformation. He smiled. Fitting. Then he added, "You know, Meredith wasn't always like that. She used to be sharp. Fearless. What happened? She got tenure, wrote a few papers, and started thinking she was the standard, not part of it." That line stuck with me. She thought she was the system. So when the system changed, she crumbled. A few weeks later, I was asked to present a workshop to incoming departmental assistants. Title? Modernizing Old Workflows, a Practical Guide to Getting SH*T Done. It went over big. The room was full. And at the end, a first year raised their hand and asked, "What do you do when someone insists you follow a broken process?" I smiled. "You follow it," I said. "Exactly. To the letter." They laughed. "But why?" "Because sometimes," I said, "the only way to show a broken system is to let it run exactly as written." That fall, I started my grad program. With a full assistantship, paid housing, and a new position, Graduate Coordinator of Operations and Digital Strategy. Basically, I was now the guy people went to when tech and tradition collided. And the binder? Still in the storage room. Only now it had a bright yellow sticky note on the front. "In case of time travel, otherwise leave it here. Bitch." The end.
And that is how you take down outdated systems. Not by yelling, not by rebelling, but by doing exactly what they asked for. Ben didn't hack the system. He didn't make a scene. He simply followed the rules of an outdated playbook and let the results speak for themselves. This story is such a perfect example of malicious compliance done right. When someone refuses to listen, refuses to adapt, and insists on holding everyone else back with their outdated ways, the best thing you can do, let them live with their own policies. Have you ever been told to just follow the rules, even when you knew those rules didn't make sense? What happened when you did? If you were in Ben's shoes, would you have done the same? Or would you have tried to fix things behind their back and risk the fallout? I want to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments and tell me, when did malicious compliance win the day for you? If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe for more real-world revenge and compliance tales, and smash that bell so you never miss the next one. Until next time,